Hello and welcome to another episode of Furious Tinkering with Steve. Today I'm going to show how to disassemble and reassemble the Ruger 1022 LR Tactical Edition rifle. I myself was looking for a video like this on YouTube and unable to find anything like this. I did find a couple of people shooting it, but nobody taking it apart. So if you look at the owner's manual, it'll kind of show you a few different versions of this gun, but the one that I have is internally it's the same as all these. They're all identical where it counts, but the body basically is different enough that disassembling it is not the same, and so the procedure they outline in the book doesn't apply fully, we'll say that. So anyways, yeah, I'll open it up here. I'll show you kind of what this actually looks like. So this is it here. Guess that kind of gives you a sense of what that actually looks like. I can stand it up over here. And it's a really fun gun to shoot. It's very cost effective, which is nice. The bullets, I think you can get a box of like 400 for $30 or so, which is certainly a lot better than shooting a larger caliber gun at like $250 a shot. So anyways, yeah, we'll get into it here now, and if you have any questions throughout the video, please feel free to just leave it in the comments, and I'll do my best to get back with a response. So yeah, okay, here we go. Okay, so again, here is the Ruger. So it's the Tactical Edition. Has a little muzzle brake of sorts on the end, a little suppressor. And like I said, it's really a nice, fun gun to shoot. And in order to disassemble this, we're going to need a few different tools. So I've got a ball peen hammer, just a piece of like wooden doweling. We've got a multi-bit driver with a T10 Torx bit on the end of there. And it doesn't have to be a multi-bit, but you are going to need a T10. We've got a Phillips screwdriver. I have a 1/8 of an inch punch, a small prying screwdriver, and then I've got a 1/8 T-handle Allen key, as well as a 332 T-handle Allen key, and that is basically all that we're going to need to take this thing apart. So yeah, we'll begin the disassembly. First thing I'm going to do is remove the trigger lock here. So yeah, we'll start there. Okay, so before we kind of commence the disassembly procedure, what I wanted to just take a moment and remind you of is that the first thing you need to do before you start working on this in any capacity at all, whether you're cleaning, disassembling, anything like that, the first thing you want to do is confirm that there is no ammunition in the gun at all. So in order to do that, you want to check in here that the magazine has been removed. I know that it has because I own two of them, and they're right over there. I'm looking at them right now. So there's no magazine, and then also what you need to do is check down the barrel to see that there's no rounds chambered, which you would be able to see from right there. Again, I'm not sure if the angle is working for you, but I can confirm that there's no ammo in the chamber. And so having done that, we are now ready to kind of begin the disassembly procedure. So cool, let's get at it. Okay, so I kind of messed up a little bit when I said you're going to need that T10 Torx. I need it, you may not. I need it actually just to remove this optic. So I'm going to take this off to begin with, because the first thing that we need to do is remove this Picatinny rail off the top. So this Picatinny rail is held on by, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 332 Allen key screws. So we'll start by getting those removed. And if you have one available, it would be a good idea to use a magnetic parts tray just so that you do not misplace any of these screws. Go. So this guy should pop off now, like that. Place that. So take two. Once we've removed the Picatinny rail off the top of the gun, we are going to turn this over. And there's one screw here that we need to remove, which is this one right here. So we're going to take this out, and then this whole piece is going to slide off the end of the barrel. So we'll do that. And then, like I said, this piece comes right off the end. So set that off to the side. Now the next three screws that are going to come out are going to be your takedown screw and one on either side of it. We're going to remove all three of these, and these are all 1/8 inch Allen key. So we're going to take those three out. Now I know if you're watching this, you might be saying, well, in the book it says, do not remove the takedown screw, only loosen it. I don't believe that that is actually going to work in this case. So you can try and do it without, but I have not had any luck with that approach. So we're going to remove it in this case. All three of these out here. And sometimes there are two nuts, one in here and one in there. This one fell out, so it's no problem. You just kind of push it back in there and set it off to the side so that they don't get lost. So now you'll notice that the plastic casing is kind of separating, you can see. So it wants to come apart, but obviously there's still something holding it. So what we're going to do is, I'll just move this a little bit closer. You'll see in the end of the handle or the grip, there's one Phillips head screw right here. So we're going to remove that screw. So now that we've taken that out, you're going to get your small flat blade screwdriver. And what you need to do is you kind of need to pry this edge up, and you'll see that this begins to slide up. And so what we want to do is from about here, you want to kind of pry this up all the way out until it comes completely off the handle. So we're just going to set this piece off to the side now. And inside the grip, you're going to see that there is another Allen screw right here. Again, 332 is the size of this one. So we're going to remove this, and it'd be nice if there was some more contrast here, because I know it's just black on black. It's kind of hard to see, but if you follow along, it's not too hard. So we'll remove this screw. This is a longer one than any of the other ones, so just be prepared for that. The T-handle Allen key certainly helps to make that go a little quicker. So yeah, so the screw can either kind of stay in there or you can pull it all the way out. I'm just going to set it off to the side. And then at this point, you will see that the plastic body is going to separate into two pieces. So we can set those off to the side. And then this is kind of the meat and potatoes of the gun. And yeah, we're going to show how to disassemble this here in just a moment. Okay, so at this point, if you were to kind of look back at the disassembly instructions, the instructions they give you for all of these models would be applicable, as I mentioned earlier, because this barrel, chamber, trigger group assembly is kind of the exact same for all these various stock assemblies. So anyways, what we're going to do next is there are 3 pins that need to be removed, and this is where our punch and hammer are going to come in handy. So there's one here, there's a second one here, and the third one is right there. So what we'll do is we will kind of knock those out, and yeah, we'll just get that done real quick here. So as you can see, this one here has been basically removed. Not entirely, but it doesn't really have to be. Okay, so again, just be sure that you do not misplace these. So either a towel nearby or something like that would be a good option. And so here's your, I think that's your trigger group. I'm not an expert, not by any means, so if I am quoting any of these parts or pieces wrong, please feel free to correct me, and we will all move on. Okay, so trigger group goes over here, and inside your kind of chamber, I guess you would, you've got your bolt, which is attached to your slide right there. So in order to remove that, what we do is we kind of pull it all the way back, and should bear with me a second here. Disassembly, page 29. Let's just reference the book. I'm not too proud to do that when needed. Okay. To remove the bolt, position the rifle upside down so the bolt is fully accessible. Drift out the bolt stop pin located at the rear of the receiver. Pull the bolt handle fully to the rear of the receiver with the left hand, and while it is in that position, using the right hand, lift up the front of the bolt until it is disengaged from the bolt handle. Okay. Lift the bolt out of the receiver. Okay. So basically, we should just be able to pull that back. Okay, so now these two components have come out, and this is the one that has the nice Ruger logo right there. I don't know if it can be seen. It's kind of silver on silver. So anyways, at this point, you would kind of go ahead and basically run some solvent. I use the Hops product, so I'd run some 22 gauge patches. Normally I would use a patch in like the aluminum rod and just run them through from the chamber out to the barrel, but just because of the profile of this, it's actually kind of hard to get the angle right without scratching something. So the next best choice would be a bore snake, and you can get these on Amazon, you can get them at Canadian Tire, but they all work the same. There's just some fine bristles there. The diameter of this obviously would be appropriate for a 22. And so basically you would drop the weight down the barrel from the chamber out towards the muzzle, and then just pull this bore brush through. Of course, you dip that in solvent, and then afterwards you can kind of run some oily patches after you've be sure to get all the crud and debris out. I would just run some oily patches from the muzzle up towards the chamber. Again, my preference would always be to run it from the chamber down towards the barrel, but again, in this particular model, it's kind of difficult to do that. So, anyways, at this point, I've already cleaned this, so I'm not going to go to the effort of doing all that. I assume you kind of already know how to solvent and then re-oil, and then obviously a light coat of oil on the exterior of all these parts as well. Yeah, basically we're going to reassemble this now, and so in order to do that, the best way to go about this is to drop this in. Actually, no, sorry, I'm getting confused here. We need to install this spring, and in order to get this assembled, you bring it in through the ejection port, and then on the end of that there's like kind of a cone, like a point. So what we want to do is make sure that that point engages. There's a bit of a indentation on this ridge here, so you want to make sure that that point is properly seated in there like this. And then once you've got those pieces assembled, what you need to do is kind of pull this back and drop the bolt with this end going in first. And then you kind of just ever so slightly release that bolt, and because there's actually a I'll show you before I do this, because this is probably helpful. Should have showed this before. So this is going to sit inside there like so, but there's a groove on the top edge of this that has to sit, sorry, like this. There. So that's how that needs to sit once it's assembled. So we want to make sure that we get this engaged in. You will know if it's not seated correctly because it will not move smoothly, especially after you've oiled that spring, which is probably just a good idea in general. So again, in order to reseat this, you want to make sure that you drop that end in first. And then this should cycle back and forth with not a tremendous amount of effort. And yeah, so that's that part. So the next step is that we want to get the trigger group seated in here correctly as well. In here, you're going to notice that there is this kind of component. Now, again, I'm not a gunsmith, so I don't know the technical names of all these, but I can tell you that it does not go here. I tried that, put it all back together, and it got stuck. So what I learned is that this goes right there, right here. Not up here, down here. So once that is seated, what we want to do is make sure that we drop this in with this in position. And we will see that these two holes are lined up. So at this point, what we want to do is make sure that we have put these pins back into place. Seems like something is not quite where it needs to be just yet. So the one at the back is definitely lined up, so I'm going to put that one in. And again, I recommend that you use like a piece of doweling, or if you have like a hard plastic hammer, that could also work. But this does the trick. And so now that that one's in, this one should also drop in, and use that doweling again. Just make sure those are hammered in flush. And then there's this last one. So there's two, those two are the exact same size. This one is a larger diameter. So basically getting them in the wrong spots is impossible without a great degree of determination. Okay, so now this is all reassembled. And so we're basically going to retrace our footsteps to put this thing back together. And so we'll do that now. So we'll start by reinstalling the plastic body on here. Goes on there like so, and this piece goes on here like this, and yeah, so once those two are kind of roughly together, we're going to need to install this grip handle. And so if you recall, it's 1 3/32 Allen key screw to reinstall this. So once we've tightened up this 332 screw, we'll take the rubber palm grip. We're going to slide this back in. And once that's pushed down all the way, we're going to get this. This is more of a screw as opposed to a bolt. So just make sure you get the right one in the right place. Okay, all right, so now that that's on there, we are going to install this piece, which goes right here. So this is where those two nuts sometimes fall out, so just you can keep your fingers over top of that so that they don't drop out. And then of these two holes, the larger one goes back towards the magazine port. So we're going to put that in now. And this is the large kind of panhead type screw here. And I think this one is 1/8 inch. So we'll make sure we get that nice and tight. Not too tight because you don't want to break them off. And then these are just the short stubby little button head screws. Honestly, it feels like something dropped out there. Maybe not. Okay, so at this point, we are ready to reinstall this plastic piece here. I don't know the proper name for it, so again, if you do, let me know. And then we're going to grab this one-off screw. So this one, as opposed to the 6 along the top, the difference is that the 6 along the top are much shorter. The one that goes right here is the longer one, and again, it has a 1/8. Oh, never mind, sorry, a 332 head on it as well, but it is longer, so that's kind of how you can tell the difference there. And one thing I noticed there just as I was putting that in is that if it doesn't begin to thread in initially, it may just be that you have to kind of push this piece up. So once you've done that, it should tighten up. And then at this point we will turn it over and we're going to reinstall our Picatinny rail. I wonder if this thing is interchangeable front to back. It is not, so this can only go one way. And yeah, so we're going to reinstall these 6 screws here now. Oops, that's the wrong Allen key. Okay, so now those 6 screws are in. I'm going to reinstall this optic, which was a gift from a good friend of mine, and it's a Vortex Spark 2, and it's actually a red dot, so there's no magnification on this, but the red dot is a really cool feature. I like it a lot. So it's easy to adjust, you know, up, down, left, right. It's pretty straightforward that way, so it's been a nice tool to use. I really like it a lot. So again, for me, in this case, this is a T10 Torx. And that's about it. So reassembled, always you want to make sure that you check that your bolt cycles freely, and it does seem to do that. looks like it's ready to go. A little bit of history on this. There was a guy at my work who was selling this gun, and I looked it up on Cabela's. It was listed at $720, $750, something like that. And my coworker said that he was willing to part ways with it for $250. So he kind of made me an offer I couldn't refuse.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
And yeah, so here we are. I bought it from him probably 4 months ago, and taking it out shooting 3 times so far. It's been great, honestly. It's like I said, I think one of my favorite things about it is that it's, you know, it doesn't break the bank. You can go out and shoot for the day, and it doesn't, you know, it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg to do it. So yeah, but no, it's been good, and I have really enjoyed it. So anyways, thank you very much for hanging out with me, watching the video, and I appreciate it a lot. So hope you guys stay safe, and yeah, take care, have fun.